Thank you, Joel, for that. And next up, we have Vicki Horton from Port Townsend.
My name is Vicki Sutherland Horton. I am from a commercial fishing family. When I was 30, my father died in a commercial fishing accident. And so this is my opportunity to be engaged and with the fishing community. We were a fishing family. And it come to mind, and I was listening to Rob's poem. When one of my brothers made a touchdown, my father, who was a bit of a character, would stand up and yell, "It's the salmon!" And we were always embarrassed and tried to hide, but that was our life. I'm grateful for being here. For that reason, not just to be able to read what I do, but to be able to connect with people that are of the fishing community, because this is where it matters. I spent a lot of my life as a science teacher for middle school and high school, and to be able to promote more of what is beautiful about the world and how we can protect it, this is where it's happening. People are working here to do that. So, right on, Fisher Poets. One last thing, I just have to say, I don't think I've ever been able to be in a venue like this. It's like, I feel like I'm at the Fifth Avenue in Seattle. It's like, whoa. Anyway, this first piece is, I would call it probably sorry. Well, I'll just make it work. A nostalgia piece. It's called North Beach. It was at North Beach after Dad's funeral, where Mother and I said our final goodbye. We watched Mother in her 40s and me just married. From the shore as a gillnet boat, aptly named the Sea Angel, carried Dad's body westward toward the Washington coast and even further beyond the continental shelf to bury him at sea. On this same beach, during our growing up years, Mother would have piled us into our battered '56 Chevy to make the trip to this then isolated beach to watch as our fishing boat, the Elaine, and Dad round the Point Wilson Lighthouse. Here we could see in the dimming light our boat purposely enter the Strait of Juan de Fuca. It was here that as a child, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with this mic and I have to maybe this will work. Okay. It was here that as a child, I watched as my mother stood barefoot in water's edge, surrounded by sleeping barnacle-encrusted rocks as tiny crabs scuttled away. The biting wind caused her white skin to blush red. The corners of her coat flapped. Her blue scarf danced merrily about her face as she raised her chin, delighted to meet and blend with, as I love to do, the rush of air. I yearned to know with certainty that when she faced the waves, she also heard the other world sounds that I often hear. Windswept voices, percussive rhythmical waves, gulls mewing. I regret that we never talk about the power of the sea. As was our family's custom, we watched from the shores our town's small fishing fleet of boats round one by one the point of land where the Point Wilson Lighthouse stands. These working boats, no more than 35 feet long, built to endure heavy Pacific Northwest winter weather, were each skippered by usually one man. The second boat to come into view was our family's boat, the Elaine, an earthen gray, hard-working gillnetter. She entered the Strait of Juan de Fuca, where smooth inland waters met watery peaks, making the bow of the Elaine shudder and dip. At the same time, I saw my mother step into the frigid water as she sought a better view of the Elaine's slow rolling progress. The boat came parallel to North Beach, and a tiny figure stepped from the cabin, grasped a rope that was strung from the wheelhouse to the stern to make his way hand over hand toward the back of the boat. Decades later, I walk this same north-facing beach to greet beach walkers in feather-filled coats, and I pet their happy dogs, thinking of how my mother waved her scarf over her head, watching the Elaine round Middle Point to motor out of view. Thank you. Thanks. So this next poem is a lot lighter. I love the name of boats. They say so much. So it's called What's in a Name? Dinghy, rowboat, skiff, they're all the same. There is bow picker, trawler, troller, but give a boat a name and something transcendent happens. The fishing boat flotilla includes the names Sea Sprite, Sea Angel, and Sea Gem. Perhaps a glimpse into these boat owners' hopes? Vicki, Bittern, Lady Lou, their sisters provided durability and some comfort as they muscled through foul weather. And the whimsical Ballerina, Vampy, Cinderella, and Mary Maid, surely they were good boats where skippers smiled. The big catches went to boats with names Reality, Stealth, and Haste. Like superheroes, they must have X-ray vision and be very, very fast-paced. But all this makes me pause, and I wonder what the fishing world would be like if the boats were named Bob or Brad. Hailing Fishing Vessel Mark, Clarence, or better yet, Peace, Plentiful, and Gratitude. Thanks. So this last piece. So as a woman, when I fished with my father back in the early 70s, I didn't see other women around. And it came to me that how far I have respect for all fishermen. What happens out there in the water is truly an inescapable event. But last time I was at Fisher Poet, it hit me how far women have come in this industry. They do it all now. That was not what I knew before. So much so that I went home, and one night I was having this bizarre dream, and I don't dream, but this, so forgive me a little bit if this is a little bit out there, but the poem kind of wrote itself. So it's called Sea Spirits, and it's to the women of Fisher Poets of 2017. It was first a Selkie, I think. She might have come from the water, shed her seal skin, climbed over the gunnels, and made love to a sleepy-eyed fisherman. Or maybe she was a spirit hitching a ride in the flotilla of Neptune's wooden angels that arrived when tall ships came. She could have been one that brought her wooden arms forward, shook her windswept hair, and stepped down. But Selkie, or figurehead, claiming enough of passivity, she was ready to be more. And small steps became an indomitable power as her spirit diffused throughout the battalions of women heading north then and now. Woman helper, raising children on board while her man sets the nets. Woman placing diapers on rigging, counting cans of milk. Woman navigating gillnet by the stars, gillnet boat by the stars. Women picking fish hour after grueling hour amidst tossing waves. Women's ice nipples as she cruised the skiff on Bristol Bay. Women's crabber whose body has never been found. I see you, this fiery woman of my fisheries life, and inside I shout, well, I used to fish, really knowing that my time is fading. Then, and this really happened, I'm on top of wooden piling, surrounded by water, channeling maybe my Sheila na gig, knees up, arms reaching out, and I watch my raw skin change, and it's about change, to dynamic, brilliant blues and swirling purples, and I hear and I see a roar that consumes me, surrounds you, and in crone style, I pass this fierce energy on to you. Thank you.